This is Senova.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And welcome back to another rambling review where we give you more reviews in one video. And today it's 3 of them. 3 games, 1 video, reviews, ratings, talking about board games, basically all of that.
All the good stuff.
Yes, if you haven't seen a rambling review before, these are basically more long-form final thoughts than in-depth reviews.
Yes.
Basically because we cannot have time, we don't have time, we cannot have time, we don't have time to review all of the games all of the time, and this makes it easier to talk about more fun games and also sometimes not fun games because that's how games work.
Yeah, so let's
so
see
where
how
should
this
we begin?
Yeah, on the top.
Yes, so first off then we have Kids Chronicles, and this one is called Quest for the Moonstones.
Yes.
This is basically Lucky Duck making their Lucky Duck Kids line. They had 2 games. We have both of them. We have only gotten to play this one yet because we need a kid to play this. So we
have
borrowed
yes, a kid
or nephew. It's not like a random kid off the street. But we have played this now with our nephew. We haven't gotten to play the whole thing. We have played some of it, and that's what we're talking about now, basically. And this is, if you didn't understand the Kids Chronicles, it is basically a easier, a smaller, more kid-friendly version of Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah.
So you will be scanning people, moving around locations, talking to them, finding items, looking at different locations, finding items in decks, matching things together, and going through a story.
Yeah.
So far, what did you think of Kids Chronicles?
Like, first of all, our nephew had the funnest time. He enjoyed it a lot. Like the interactiveness with the iPad or phone. You can use your phone or tablet to scan the people.
Yes.
And there's some cute little mysteries going on. I like the story. It's like kid-friendly, but also fun for adults.
Yes.
And the things you have to do to complete the quests are so far a little thinky, especially for kids, but with help from adults it will flow fine, I think. It was interesting to play.
Yes, and I forgot to say this is a review copy, so we got it from the publisher.
That's true.
I do agree with everything you said. I think that it takes everything that is fun in Chronicles of Crime and makes it available for much younger kids. So the box says, I think, like 6 plus or 7 plus. 7 plus. Our nephew is 9. Yes, 9, and he really liked it. Like, he talked about it the next few times I met him. He was like, "Oh, this was the best board game we have ever played." So that is something like if you have a kid and like he loves video games. He loves, like when I said, "Oh, we have this game where you go on quests," and he was like, "Wow, I want to play that." And we talked about it. He was so looking forward to play it. Yeah. We were here before you came from work, and he was just waiting. Even though we love playing video games, he was really looking forward to playing the board game. And I think the next time he comes to our place, he really want to continue playing this because of he liked the app interaction. I think that is a good thing. If you have kids, you might say if you have kids that uses apps a lot, we're not going to go into that huge discussion. But I think this is a great way to get them to see that you can also do other things. So you use the app, but you play the board game.
Yes.
So for me, I think this was very good. I enjoyed the way they made it more kid-friendly. We're not going to go into the story, of course. But I think if you haven't played Chronicles of Crime, or just if you enjoy that kind of game and you have kids that you think might enjoy it, I think this might be a very good fit.
I agree, and we talked about the Lucky Duck people at the Messe where we got it at Spiel. And they also talked about how much you involve your kids really are a little up to the kids. Our nephew sometimes took the iPad and scanned it around himself.
And read everything.
Sometimes he read. He's really good at English, but English people will have no problem with this.
No, because they already speak the language.
Yes, no problem. But if you are an adult, no, I'm doing this. This is my job. Then I think maybe the kids won't be that
involved.
Attached to it. So you can really decide or feel with your see the how your kids want to do it, basically.
Yeah. I would just like to note it. I would not play this without kids.
Oh yeah.
No, it would not be interesting at all. Then you could just play Chronicles of Crime, which is a better game for gamers.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice, but much of the reason why I liked it was because we were exploring it with a person who it was meant for.
Yes.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So you want to rate it?
Ratings-wise, I think was a really good experience. I want to rate it as 7.5.
I think it's a hard thing to rate for me because it's not I'm not rating it, oh, I love this game so much, but I loved it for my nephew and the experience we had with him. So I'm so far going to give it a 7, and I'm looking forward to play the rest of the game. So that is Quest for the Moonstone.
Nice.
Next up, we have then Cuphead, the fast rolling dice game. This is also a review copy, and we have played some of Cuphead, the video game.
Oh yeah, it's so hard. It's impossible. We have not come very far.
We played
so hard.
Quite a few of the bosses, but we might have been like halfway through the game or something like that. It's basically a boss.
I don't think so.
Fighter game. So everything you do is a boss fight, and they are extremely hard. This is kind of based on the older, like Cuphead. This as well is based on the video game, but Cuphead is a game based on like the older video games where everything is super hard.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting to. I wanted to play this basically to see how they had implemented that into a board game. And what you do in this game is basically you flip up cards for the boss that you're fighting, and that boss has different symbols on the cards, and you roll your dice and you have to assign them on your board to the same symbols that are on the cards in the same order. And you do that with a timer, and you can play like either like extremely hard with 10 seconds or just super hard with 15 seconds or just very hard with 20 seconds, which we have done, which is hard enough. And then you just try to not die and try to kill the boss. You will get coins to upgrade, to get more weapons, better abilities, and try to play through 8 bosses. There's a lot of things to do. You can unlock things. You can try to play it again and again to get better scores. So like if you end up falling in love with this, you have a lot of replayability to just try to get better and better scores at it, like in the video game. So yeah, that's what you do in the game. What do you think of Cuphead dice rolling fast rolling game?
I love the look of the game. I love the concept of the game as well. I think it has well implemented mechanisms to match what you're doing in the video game. It's not a programming game, but you like thematically you're seeing, okay, the boss is doing this, then I have to move like this and this and this, and you get those kind of symbols on your dice. And I love that. First of all, it's very stressful, but I love how you can take these active risks really to shoot and deal damage at the boss, but that doesn't mean that you will survive. So you want to have that balance between attacking but also doing what you want to do to evade the boss's attack. So I liked it.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I think that it's a very stressful, very random game. You just need to know that you might lose just because of random luck. We have played 4 of the 8 bosses, and I do enjoy even though each game feels kind of similar, they do manage to change it up to make the different games feels a bit different, so that you have to play in maybe a little bit of different way. You have to use the symbols in a different way than you usually do. And I like that because the gameplay loop is it's repetitive. You're doing just the same thing over and over and over again. So I like that they are kind of changing it up a bit. For me, it's a fine game. I enjoyed playing it. I don't have that need to go back and play the rest of the bosses. Some of me want to, because I want to see how they have all the changes they have done.
Agree.
But it's not one. I'm not like, oh, I cannot wait to play that game again. It's more like, oh, it's fun playing it, but I don't have to play more of it.
I agree. I think like what you said about the luck is very also well handled in this game, I think, because if I roll and roll and roll and I just don't get the symbols that I should get for this first sequence, I can skip it. I can think, okay, I just have like 5 seconds left. Oh, I do have the symbols for the other stuff. Let's go. So I don't think that you're completely stuffed if you're a little unlucky, which I really enjoy though.
But then you will lose a life, and you know that real life, and you cannot lose
absolutely.
them.
But you don't die necessarily because you're a little unlucky.
But basically, it's a dice chucking game. So a dice chucking game has a lot of luck. So you have to know that before you go into this game. That it's basically called fast rolling dice game.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a dice game where you roll dice fast and you assign them to things. And that's what you do. You can do it in different ways. You can get different weapons and upgrades, which is fun. I always like that in games. I'm a sucker for that, like legacy games, stuff like that. I always get dragged into I can upgrade my things, which is something I think is fun.
Yeah, I'm not, I agree with you. I think it's a fine game. I liked the variety with the bosses, but sometimes in these kind of games, you're just like, oh, I want to go again and again and again. And I don't get that feeling with that game.
I agree.
I think it's a very nice game, but I don't get this this hooked feeling that I maybe should have gotten. I don't know.
So rating?
I want to give this it's 6.5. I think it's a above average game for me.
Yeah, it's 6.5 for me as well. It's like it's somewhere between a 6 and 6.5, but I want to play the rest of it maybe someday and see what the rest is about.
Yes.
So last up then we have Piicture Perfect, a very weird little puzzle game. Looks like a deduction game, is more a puzzle game. You are a photographer, or all the players are a photographer in the same party, even though all the parties are held different places because they look differently, but you're still the same photographer in the same place. And all of these people in the game has a need for when they want to be standing in the picture. Even the dog.
And the plant.
Yes. The plant should not want to be somewhere. That doesn't make sense at all, and I don't know why they did that.
It's fun.
But it's a weird thing. But if you like thematically, everything makes sense until that plant and the dog, and that nobody wants to tell you anything. They have to tell you it in envelopes.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a game about information. So you start the game off with some of these envelopes. It has card in them telling you, oh, I want to stand beside this person, or I want to stand in the corner, or I want to stand not next to a man, and stuff like that. And then you're trying to, depending on different cards that you draw, you will trade that information to try to get the most information throughout the game to place the characters in the best possible way. Then at the end you will take a photo with your smartphone and you will see how many points you're scoring depending on how many of the cards in each of the envelopes you basically managed to do. And that's the game.
I really like the concept. It feels fresh and it feels different, and the balance between it not being like a pure deduction game, which I really didn't get like until like halfway out in the first game. You're just like, oh, okay, so these two people wants to be the total opposite way, and I can't score it all because there's really no like perfect solution to the game.
No,
you just have to like
just
do
a
it
picture perfect.
just like you have to do the most perfect test.
So it kind of, but it has the feel of being a deduction game, even though it's more as you said, like it feels kind of weird because I thought, oh, it's kind of a deduction game, and it's like, oh, but it doesn't have action because deduction games has a solution, and it doesn't really have a perfect solution. And I think that it works because of that, because it then makes it a different kind of game.
Yeah, I agree. And how you trade information, you're like, okay, I if you keep the some information that is really good, that might like hinder you from getting information on other people. And also how you like, okay, for example, let's see that one of the people wants to stand beside the plant. So you set the plant there, and towards the end of the game you're like, but I don't know where this plant wants to be. And then it's a little risk. Okay, do I want to keep the plant in the picture for the person to be happy, or do I remove it to not get negative points if that plant is totally wrong? Which I also enjoyed, that little risk.
I think one thing though, which was we both played it with 4 players without the auction variant, and we played it 6 players with the auction variant. And in both cases, I think like especially in the 6-player game, we ended up having players who did not get any new information in like 2 or 3 rounds. And that can happen. And I felt like in 4 players, I felt like it was more like denying information. But in the 6-player game, it kind of felt more random you didn't get anything now. And that is kind of like the negative point for the game for me, because I like the puzzle part of it. I like trying to get information but not give information. But I felt like we haven't played it 50 times, so probably it's not going to be that. But that happened in one of our plays, just so you know about it. But it did bother some of the people that we played with more than it bothered me. I just felt like, okay, it's a fun 45-minute game. And it doesn't bother me that much, but it's there, and it's not a positive point for the game.
I can't really decide for myself if I like the game best with the auctions or without the auctions. I think there are positive and negatives with both of them. In the one without the auction, you can get some information like randomly or by denial, as you said. But in the auction part, it's can change more up, but that means also that the game could be really like more in I don't mean imbalanced in that way, but sometimes some people get a lot of information and sometimes other people get very few information.
Yes.
And that also is a thing that takes time in the game, like the bidding stuff. So if you enjoy that, perfect. But for me, I think it's really nice that they have included both variants, so you can decide for yourself which one you like the most.
And it also kind of has it can happen because this is kind of randomly ordered. These exchange and auction cards comes up, but you can come into a situation where you have like a rich gets richer kind of feeling, because we had one person had 5 envelopes and me and one other person had 1 envelope, and then you get a card that says everybody puts every envelope they have except 1 into the middle of the table, and then you get as many back as you let in, which means that the people who had 1 could not get any information, and the person who had 5 could basically
get a
if
lot.
they were randomly lucky, get 4 new envelopes, or maybe 3 envelopes they hadn't seen before. So I think it's a fine game, but it has some flaws for me. I think I'm going to give it a 6.5. It's a fun one. I would like to play it a couple more times to see if I need to own it. But right now it's on the get rid of it pile for me.
Yeah, I'm a little unsure about this game because I think like the idea is so cool. I really like it for the concept. I think maybe it could have been executed a little more like
better,
perfectly, more But right now I really love this game just for existing. So that's like a little bonus point right there. So I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay, so that is Piicture Perfect, and those are 3 more games getting reviews on this channel. The year is off to a good start. It's actually the first review on the channel for this year, because we have done Keeper Curl and Top 100 so far. So that is it. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, you can do so now by
clicking the subscribe button. It's fun and it's free and it makes us happy like this. If you want to do something that's not free,
you can go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Sunniva.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.